Hey, how's it going? It's Zing, and today I'm going to be doing a full beginner guide for Dark and Darker. If you're new to the game, or if you're new to this channel, well, my name is Zing, and I have around 3,300 hours on Dark and Darker, and I've been doing a lot of YouTube videos recently. A lot of them are pretty noob friendly with budget builds and things like that. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the actual beginner guide. When you first open Dark and Darker, you're not actually going to have any characters. So what you can go ahead and do is press Create Character on the bottom right. From this menu, you have 10 characters that you can pick from. We have Fighter, Barbarian, Rogue, Ranger, Wizard, Cleric, Bard, Warlock, Druid, and Sorcerer. So at this point, you can go ahead and just start with pretty much any of the melee classes is going to be easiest to start with. So Fighter, Barbarian, Rogue. Ranger could be a little hard to start on, so I don't recommend that. Warlock is really easy to start on. And then I would avoid pretty much Sorcerer, Bard, Druid, Cleric, Wizard, pretty much Ranger. Those are going to be harder classes to use and kind of just more complicated to get into the game with. Each one of these classes has something on the right here. It's called class info, and it's pretty much tells you anything that you need to know about the class at a basic level. Once you decide what class you want to play, go ahead and create a name and create your character. Just like that, we have a level 1 fighter. Go ahead and press enter lobby, and we'll go from there. At this point in the game, you're going to see a lot of different tabs, and that's going to be play, season, religion, skills, stash, merchants and workshops, trade, gathering hall, customize, and shop. You're also going to see this button says request a night. So this is pretty much going to allow you to join the Discord, and then they have a special team, I guess, of knights that will actually join you on Discord, go into a voice call with you, and then pretty much guide you through the game. They'll get on your team and y'all can run some dungeons together. You're also going to see a few other things. This is going to be the party finder. So you can set this to, whatever you want, what map, what mode, what objective. And as you can see, some teams pop up that are looking for an extra member. But we're not going to worry about that right now. What we're really going to be looking at is if we go to our skills tab, you're going to see a lot of different numbers here on the side, and you're going to see a lot of different perks and skills and things that may look a little complicated. But don't worry, we're going to simplify that. So for now, go ahead and just ignore everything on the left side. We're going to be taking a look at perks and skills. So perks. There's lots of different perks for each one of the classes, and these are pretty much passive abilities that you don't need to press anything to activate. These are always going to be here, unless it's something like Adrenaline Spike. When your health goes below 40%, then you gain action speed, move speed, and things like that for 12 seconds, and it has a cooldown. So some perks are like this, where they activate and have a cooldown, but most of them are something like this, where combo attack, 2 consecutive melee attacks, then you get 10% physical damage bonus per stack up to 2 stacks. Now at this point in the game, when you're looking at all these perks, you want to just say, okay, what's the perk that pretty much stands out to me? And each class is different. For me, I'm going to be going Sword Mastery on Fighter, as this is just a generally good perk. Once you're able to go through all the perks and figure out what you want, we can go ahead and move on to skills. So each character has 2 skills that they can use at the same time, and unlike the perks, you do not need to have any levels to equip the maximum of 2 skills you can have on a single character. Skills are going to be things that you click a button, most likely Q or E, to activate. And these are super, super powerful abilities. Same thing as I said with the perks. For the skills, you're going to want to read through each one of these and find which one sounds best to you and what do you think fits your playstyle. For me, I like to run something like Sprint and Adrenaline Rush, as this gives me a ton of move speed, and Adrenaline Rush gives me a ton of action speed for a few seconds. Like I said multiple times before, these perks and skills vary between the classes, and there's a bunch of different, cool builds that you can do within these, and there's just an endless amount of fun you can have. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and quickly go over the training tab. So this training tab doesn't actually do much. Pretty much as you level, you're going to get these tokens, reward tokens, and you redeem the token and it gives you 3 items to pick from, and they're usually just not good, and I wouldn't really even worry about this page. But it does show you how much XP you need to level. So right now we're level 1. We have 0 out of 50 XP. With this entire skills tab out of the way, we can go ahead and go to our stash tab. So on the stash tab, it's pretty much going to show you what your character has equipped, as well as what your character has in the stash. So anything on this side of things, on the left side, on the character itself, whether it's equipped or in the character inventory, this will be brought into the game, and you have a chance of losing this. Anything that you bring into here. On the right side is going to be your stash, and anything on this side will not be brought into the game, and you have no risk of losing. From the stash tab as well, we can go ahead and press open details. So this open details is going to pretty much open up your stats in depth and tell you everything you need to know about your character and what you need to be building, what stats you're missing, and things like that. So the most important stats, as you'll see if you watched any of my other videos, I always go over health, move speed, action speed, PDR, MDR, which is magic resist and physical damage reduction. These are super important. Physical power bonus and magical power bonus. As you may assume, physical power bonus is pretty much going to be scaling how much physical damage you do. Magical power bonus is going to be pretty much scaling how much magic damage you do. This is going to be with spells or with certain weapons like a crystal sword, which has a magic weapon damage attribute instead of just weapon damage. Physical damage reduction is pretty much how much damage you're going to be negating from any physical attacks. And magical damage reduction is going to be pretty much how much damage you're negating from magical attacks. Action speed is pretty much going to be how fast you actually attack with your weapons. And movement speed is going to be pretty much how fast your character moves. And a lot of pieces of gear or weapons have a attribute on them called move speed minus something. So this is move speed minus 3. This is move speed minus 3. Boots always give move speed, so this is move speed minus 6. Plus 6, whoops. And then things like weapons, when you pull them out, they have minus move speed on them as well. So this is minus 20 and this is minus 13. Lastly, health is, it's pretty obvious. It's going to be how much health you have. Now, each one of these stats, like health, move speed, physical power bonus, and magical power bonus, all scale with different base attributes. And those base stats are going to be right here. We have strength, vigor, agi, dexterity, will, knowledge, and resourcefulness. Each piece of gear will most likely give you some kind of base attribute, like this is vigor, this is dexterity. This doesn't have one, but it gives base 3 HP. Strength is pretty much going to give you physical power bonus, which is obviously going to increase how much damage you do with physical weapons. Vigor is going to increase how much health your character has, as we have 131 right now, and if we take off these 1 vigor gloves, we have 130. Agility is going to be how fast your character moves, and as it says right here, it slightly increases your action speed as well. Dexterity is going to increase action speed, manual dexterity, regular interaction speed, and increases item equip speed. Will is going to pretty much increase your magic power. It'll also increase your buff duration, debuff duration, and your magic resistance. Knowledge is going to increase your spell memory capacity, and improve your spellcasting speed overall. And memory capacity is something that is on other characters, which we can get into a little bit later. Lastly, we have resourcefulness, and this isn't really a sought after stat. It does increase the regular interaction speed of a character, and increases how fastly you install items such as traps and campfires. Lastly, resourcefulness reduces the skill cooldowns for a character, which a lot of times isn't something that you would most likely need unless you're on certain classes like a sorcerer that benefits a lot from resourcefulness. Now that we've gone over everything in the skills tab, everything in the stash tab, we can go ahead and move on to the season tab. The season tab is going to show a few things. It's going to show your rank, which is pretty much gained through what we call AP. And the more you play, you gain AP through every match, and eventually you just move up in rank. It's nothing, extremely hard, and super easy to make your way all the way up to demigod. The next thing it's going to show is arena rank. This arena rank is based off of the arena game mode, which is a 3v3 fight between 2 teams. The next thing that the season tab will include is a Hall of Fame. So this is going to be a 7-day period where you can look at the top players and their kills, how much loot they're extracting with, how many bosses they've defeated, and how many times they've escaped a dungeon overall. Now that we've gone over skills, stash, season, we can move on to religion. The religion tab is pretty simple. There's 4 religions. Each religion does something. So this one gives luck. This one gives cooldown reduction bonus. This one, regular interaction speed. And this one is magic pen. All you do is press convert and you select your religion for the entire wipe for all of your characters, and this cannot be changed. Now that we've gone over skills, stash, religion, and season, we can move on to the merchants and the workshop. There are 15 tabs here, and each one of these guys do something different. The alchemist is for meds and magic weapons like crystal balls, crystal swords, spell books, things like that. Tavern master is for instruments for a bard player, as well as coin bags, coins, and ale. The collector is where you will give all of your sellables to receive gold in return. The squire has basic gear that you're able to wear. The expressman is something we can get into later. The goblin merchant is pretty much a gambling site. You trade gold for a weapon that could be anywhere from, the worst rarity to the best rarity. The armor gives armor, weaponsmith gives weapons, woodsman gives things like bows, tailor gives cloth, leathersmith gives leather gear, huntress has these huntress emblems, and you get them from just daily huntress quest, like kill demon bat. And I'll get some of these emblems, and then I can use those as currency within the huntress. The goldsmith is a very important NPC through the quest line. Once you complete a lot of quests, then you'll start unlocking craftables, which allow you to craft rings and pendants. As crafting these gear pieces is super important, the most important thing in the goldsmith, in my opinion, is socketing armor. You can actually press on any gear, green and above. So we have this yellow piece, which is a legendary piece. We can go ahead and click on that, and we can socket any one of these attributes. And in order to socket, 1 to 2 decks, we have to have a legendary diamond. And I do have a legendary diamond, so we are able to do this. You make sure you have the diamond, and you can press fill, and it'll automatically take the diamond from anywhere in your stash and put it here, as well as the gold. And you just press socket gem. We only rolled 1 dexterity, which is really unfortunate, but it is what it is. The dealmaker is kind of an off NPC. I don't really mess with it too much. Pretty much in certain game modes, you can die, and then you can become a NPC, or not an NPC, but a PvE mob, like a skeleton or something. And then once you're in that mode, you can do damage to players, and then you unlock these tokens, and these are pretty much a currency for legendary items. The cockatrice is also just like a weird NPC. There's a few quests which you can get XP and things like that, and I'm not actually sure what the service is, but I'll probably find out soon. Lastly, there is affinity for each of these NPCs, and affinity matters a lot. So in this case, we gained affinity through this quest right here. And what affinity does is pretty much upgrade your services. So if we go to something like the goldsmith, where we have 125 affinity, that allowed me to create all these. But at a certain point, like maybe at this quest, when we didn't have so much affinity from doing all these quests, we might only be able to make something like green and blue rings and nothing like legendary rings. So affinity is super important for every single one of these guys. Moving on to the workshop tab. The workshops I don't really mess with too much, and I wouldn't even get into them as a new player. If y'all want to do your own research on these workshops, then go ahead, but I will let you know it takes hundreds of thousands of gold to fully upgrade these, and even at that point, I don't find them that too necessarily useful. Now that we've gone over season, religion, skill, stash, merchants, and workshops, we can go over the last few, which is trade, gathering hall, customize, and shop. For the trade tab, you have to become a trader before you can use it, and this requires you to be pretty much level 20 on your character. Once you unlock it, it's pretty much just a marketplace where you can post items for a certain amount of gold and have a fee to post them. They'll stay up for, I think it's like, 12 days or something, but your items will most likely be sold by then. And then the trading post is for things that are so expensive they can't even fit on the market with the market cap of $100,000 per item, or 100,000 gold. But this isn't something that you really need to worry about just yet until you reach that level 20 mark. The gathering hall tab is pretty much not a used tab anymore. It used to be for finding friends and players, but now you don't even need to really use this, as there is the Dark and Darker Discord, where you can find people to play with. Next is the Customize tab. This is pretty much just cosmetic. As you can tell, we have different backgrounds, so let me go ahead and equip this one because that looks cool. There's also different races within the game, and these races actually matter a lot, as something like this dwarf would take away 10 move speed. Something like this lichen would only allow you to wear hat type headgear, but you get 4 vigor and headshot damage reduction. Then we have items, which is, like I said, just cosmetic. So here's our campfires. We can go ahead and put this one on, put this one on. We have lantern skins and bandage skins and sash skins. So really cool stuff within this. Then we have emotes, and I usually just put on my favorite emote, which is this burst of fire. We have lobby emotes, which some pretty cool stuff like this bird that I can call while sitting in the lobby. Then we have motions, which is pretty much when you lay down or press your rest button. This is what it's going to be doing. And I like this laying down one because a lot of times you can actually lay down behind barrels and some Sea of Thieves type strategy, you know what I mean? Then we have nameplate, which you unlock through rewards, through season rewards from being certain rank in arena. And I don't have any of these because I didn't really play too much arena. And then we have the shop tab, which is pretty much all cosmetics except for the skins, because like I said before, skins have a advantage and disadvantage for every skin, as this one has 2 strength, 1 will, but it takes away to add you 1 resourcefulness. For the shop tab, there is going to be 2 things that you can buy cosmetics with, or skins, and that's going to be blue shards and red shards. Blue shards you get from just leveling your character, and every season you'll get some. And you can read some more about it right here if you'd like. And then there's red shards, which is pretty much the real money for cosmetic shards. So you can buy red shards if you'd like. Now that we've gone over every single tab within the game when you first create a character, we're going to go over all the little things here and here. Starting off with quest log, this pretty much allows you to easily manage all of your quests and turn in items and do everything you need with quest all through this menu. Next you have the achievements list, which I mean is pretty self-explanatory. There's achievements and it tells you when you completed them. There's the news tab, which honestly doesn't have anything unless there's news. There's the Squire tab, which brings you pretty much to the Squire merchant from earlier. There's going to be Karma and Fame tab, which pretty much if you get team killed within a match, you can give them a thumbs down and punish them. Or you can give them a praise if they're a good teammate. Or you can forgive them if you'd like. Next we have the player list. This shows how many people are currently in the dungeon, in the lobby, and how much players you have blocked. You have a random player list. Honestly, this is just randomly generated, I think. Which is, I guess, kind of cool. Then there's this friends tab. The block tab. My invitations. So invitations I've sent to people, or no, my invitations that I have received from people, and then invitations I've sent, and that's embarrassing. Anyways, there's also of course the change class tab, which pulls you into your character menu where you can switch between your characters. Next we have select server, which I usually just play on East, as that is where I get the best ping. Then there's this tab right here. This is super important. So when you click on this, there's going to be 4 different tabs. There's going to be PvE. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 maps, and you have to start with this one, and then you get some gold, and you can unlock with the other ones if you'd like. And then there's going to be normal campaign. So this is not PvE. This is PvPvE. So you're going to be fighting other players as well. There's 4 maps for this. And there's high roller. So this is going to be PvPvE as well, but the map has harder NPC enemies, harder mobs, so it makes it much more difficult. This is also going to be more strict on no teaming or anything like that. As you can see, friendly encounters are prohibited, all teaming is bannable, fence and high roller dungeon. You also get better loot from this in comparison to the normal campaign. Lastly, we have battle mode, which is going to be Squire Royale. This is where everyone is in Squire gear. You don't get to bring anything in except meds. And this is super good for like noob friendly battles. Then we have Arena, which is that 3v3 mode that I was talking about earlier. It'll show your win-loss rate, kills, death, assists, and all the stats that you'd like to know. With all of that out of the way and pretty much going through the entirety of the menu of the game, we can go ahead and go over to PvE campaign. And this is where you're going to want to start as a new player. Press start game. Do you want to find a party? I'm a pro, so I wouldn't say so. We're gonna enter solo. So, once you load into the game, you will find yourself in a random module within the dungeon. You can make your way around the dungeon. There's going to be enemies, such as this bat. And we can go ahead and just take it out with a few swings of our sword. So all the enemies that you kill are going to be lootable. You're going to be able to pick off pieces from them. You're going to find gear, you're going to find weapons, and just a bunch of helpful stuff. Then there's chests, which will allow you to loot things like these boots. Don't give us anything that we need because we don't need knowledge, so we're not going to take them. So you don't want to just take everything. We're going to make our way through this module, killing all these mobs and looting up. Nothing from those guys. Let's keep moving. We were able to find a green helmet, which isn't necessarily too much better than ours, but it does give more armor rating, so I will take it. I forgot to go over this, but the map itself is a 7x7, and people can spawn in all different places. So when you find people, it is completely random and kind of dangerous if you're not in PvE mode. But for now, we're in PvE mode, and we're going to stick to pretty much looting and finding pieces of gear. I was able to find this chest piece and replace mine, and some gold coins as well. If you couldn't tell by now, there's multiple enemies within this game, as there's that wolf, there's this archer, there's the bats that we took out earlier, and a bunch of different other mobs, like spearmen and axemen. And what do you know, there's someone sitting right here. How's it going?
What up, bro?
What up, bro?
How's it hanging?
Oh, it's hanging. Anyways, let's keep moving. So within the dungeon, you make your way through it, you loot, and if you're in PvE only mode, then you keep looting. And then what you can do is there's certain spots on the map. They have a blue marker or a red marker. The blue marker is an extract. The red marker is a dungeon down area. So what we're going to do is make our way over to this red marker and go down to the next floor of the dungeon. This is a super important part of going down in the dungeon. This NPC that we skipped over earlier in the NPC tab called the Expressman. He is actually right here in between each layer of the dungeon. And you can throw items into his inventory, and then you can pay some gold later to get them back out. And we're in the second layer of the dungeon. So this is going to be I think it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 5. And we spawned in the trap room. So each room has its name right here, and you can toggle shift to see all the names like this. So we're in maze, and we're going to move our way into dark magic library. Once again, we're pretty much going to be looting the dungeon and clearing all of the different mobs. Here's the spearmen, which we haven't seen just yet, and they have pretty basic attacks. We're able to find some buckled boots, which give us a lot more armor rating than our boots. Give us a little bit less move speed, but they give us 3 HP. We're going to move our way over to the cistern. We're going to use our abilities to take out this mage. So we have sprint, which gives us a lot of move speed, and adrenaline rush, which gives us a lot of action speed. And he actually put on a force field, so we can't attack him during this time. But as you can see, our action speed is much quicker. But once our ability runs out, our attack speed is much slower, only for a certain amount of time though. When you get to this level of the ruins, so this is called the crypts level, there is going to be a boss, and in this case it is Lich. And these bosses are pretty easy to do, I would say, and they give really good loot. So if you ever want to take your time to learn something like a boss, I highly recommend doing that. There are 3 bosses that can spawn: Ghost King, Warlord, and Lich. That right there is Lich. And we have yet to see Ghost King or Warlord. But we're not going to really get into bosses in this video. That's probably something for later. Here's an Axeman. I'm going to use my abilities to kill this guy as well. There we go. Just like that. I made our way over to this water room, and there is a blue marker on the map for an extract. This blue extract has not been opened yet. Usually it takes maybe around halfway through the match for them to open. So we're gonna have to wait for that. Alright, with a little bit of waiting, the blue has opened up. These guys look like they're doing the boss right now. And it looks like they are all dying to the boss right now. Anyways, let's go and take the blue. All you have to do is come up to it, press F to open it, and it takes a little bit, but not that long. Now that the gate is open, we can go in. And just like that, you've extracted your first Dark and Darker dungeon. This here is going to pop up pretty much after you escape any dungeon. Even if you die, it's going to tell you all a bunch of different stats, how much AP you earned. I'm already at the max rank, so I don't earn any anymore, but I would have earned 66, and how much value of gold I got through my items that I looted. So we can go ahead and go to our Expressman, as we did put some stuff in his inventory earlier. Press select all and buy them back from him. Just like that, we got out of our first game with a few pieces of gear. And yeah, now that was a super simple way of showing how to get in and out of a dungeon, but the rest of it is going to be pretty much up to you to learn, unless you want super specific things. Pretty much like how to do a boss, how to fight a certain mob, or anything like that. Comment below if you'd like to see something along those lines. But the general idea is running PvE, getting used to the game, learning the PvE, learning how to loot, what gear fits you, kind of a build that you'd like to try. And then once you have the balls to do it, go into normal campaign. Do the same thing, but get ready to fight another player. If you're really looking to get good at PvP, I highly recommend doing Squire Royale, as you can go in a game, fight a bunch of people, even if you die, you get in another game, fight a bunch of people again. And eventually, once you get good at PvE, good at PvE and norms, and having a little, PvE action as well, make your way into High Roller. So there's going to be harder PvE and a lot more geared and better players. But that pretty much concludes my beginner-friendly guide on the game and wraps up pretty much everything there is to know about the basics. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And like I said before, if you want any kind of specific videos on how to do something, let me know in the comments below. I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next one.